deep breath. Everything is alright. Chin up, I can't step into the spotlight. She said, I'm sad, somehow without any words. I just stood there, searching for an answer. When this world is no more, the moon is all we'll see. I'll ask you to fly away with me until the stars all fall down. They empty from the sky, but I don't mind if you're with me, then everything's alright.
Everybody has that one GPU. You know the one. The one that you discovered your favorite games on, the one that blazed your way through an awesome summer, and the one that you've made more gaming memories with than you can count. You know what? I'm sure you're thinking of one right now, but for me, that one GPU is the Radeon R9 390. Over 10 years ago now, I started my journey with the R9 390. With it, I put in more time than I can reckon. Nights spent with friends, gaming into the early hours of the morning, recording gameplay footage with it and putting it up on YouTube. Together, we were a team. We raced through levels, unlocked new adventures, and forgot about the worries of life for a while. And you know what? Today, we're reconnecting. In 2015, I upgraded my GTX 770 to this R9 390. With 2,560 GCN2 cores running at 1.05 GHz, 8 GB of GDDR5, a hefty 512-bit memory bus, and a $300 price tag, it was a significant upgrade. And as time went on, it just got better. This was the generation of Radeon GPUs that coined the phrase, fine wine. As Radeon ditched their admittedly terrible Catalyst drivers for their Crimson drivers, performance increased significantly, and during this time, the main competition for the 390, the GTX 970, was undergoing its VRAM debacle, and where it was found out that only 3.5 gigabytes of the VRAM was at its full speed, and 512 megabytes was at a significantly reduced speed. This sparked a meme, should have bought a 390, and well, I'm glad I did. It could play everything I threw at it, no problem. But, you know what? As time moved on, so did I. Eventually, after a few years, it found its way out of my PC, into a box, and on a shelf. Today, we're reuniting. Can this old veteran play the new games it never had a chance to see? Well, let's find out. Apex Legends at 1080p high settings felt right at home on the 390. We got a smooth 86 FPS average, with the lows never dropping below that 60 FPS mark. Cyberpunk 2077 1080p medium settings ran pretty well too, with a 46 FPS average. It's nothing to write home about, but it's not terrible, and the lows never dropped below that cinematic 30 FPS mark. Forza Horizons 5 1080p medium settings was a blast to play, with an 87 FPS average and it never dipping below 70. It is a smooth experience through and through. Jumping to a game that's a little bit newer, Ready or Not 1080p medium settings was extremely playable. With a 92 FPS average, it was a no-compromise gaming experience. This old champ can still handle it. Helldivers 2 is a game I like to play a lot nowadays. Despite the game releasing 9 years after the R9 390, it refuses to give up. With a 43 FPS average, it's smooth enough considering its age, and with the lows not dropping past 38, there was virtually no stuttering detected. The Oblivion remaster is notoriously hard to run, even on newer hardware. However, at 1080p low settings, outdoors we were able to get a decent enough 49 FPS average. However, the card is showing its age as it stuttered a bit as new assets loaded. Indoors, however, it got a great 84 FPS average, with it never dipping below 55. The 8GB of VRAM may have been a bit overkill back in the day, but it's definitely pulling its weight in these newer titles. The last game we tested was Warhammer 40k Space Marines 2 at 1080p low settings. This was by far the hardest game for it to run. Even so, it eked out a cinematic 33 FPS average. It's still playable if you're a hardy low-end gamer, and quite frankly, it's astonishing a 10-year-old GPU can play it at all. To help the newer games be a little bit more playable, we overclocked the 390 to a 1160 MHz on the core and 1600 MHz on the VRAM. With the overclock, it definitely helped the average performance, jumping between 10 to 15%. In Helldivers, we saw a 12% increase to the average performance. The lows jumped about the same amount as well. Oblivion saw a modest average performance increase, but saw a fantastic 1% and 0.1% low improvement, with the stuttering smoothing out and a near 50 to 60% improvement to the lows. Finally, Space Marines 2 got a significant 15% bump, moving it away from that cinematic frame rate to something a lot more playable. The lows in this game were also significantly improved by 30 to 40%. Even after all these years, the R9 390 is a heap of fun to play games on. It was like reuniting with an old friend. The memories we've formed can't be taken away, but time fades everything, so pick up your old GPU. You know the one. Spin it up and remember the good times. Because with an old friend, it's never goodbye.
When this world is no more, the moon is all we'll see. I'll ask you to fly away with me until the stars all fall down. They empty from the sky, but I don't mind. If you're with me, then everything's alright. If you're with me, then everything